Good morning, students. Today we are going to discuss about the topic satellite and its working. A satellite is any object that revolves in a curved path around a planet. The satellite is revolving around the path of the planet. Satellites, there is two types of satellite. Um, First one is the natural satellite, that is moon is the natural satellite. Second one is artificial satellite. A natural satellite is any celestial body in space that orbits around a larger body. The satellites that are made by the people and launched into orbit using rockets are called artificial satellites. Launching an artificial satellite. The launching a satellite into the orbit involves two steps process. First, the satellite has to be taken to the desired altitude. Then it has to push for the right velocity to bring and maintain its orbit. The launch satellite in an orbit around the Earth vehicles is used, such as rocket or space shuttle. Launch vehicles travels right up only for the few seconds of its flight. A satellite launch vehicle is a mid-stage right. These connect several smaller boosters. The boosters give the rocket its initial thrust during the launch and is carried the vehicles. Fuel is the booster is used by the rocket fall away and the other boosters on the earth. Each time the booster is dropped, the vehicle gets lighter so it can travel faster. When it is finally reached the proper altitude and speed, it reaches the satellite into the orbit. In the satellite, it is in the orbit of the Earth. How the satellite works? Satellite communicates consists of three main components: uplink, satellite transponder, downlink transmitter. The uplink earth station or other ground equipment transmit the desired signal to the satellite. Transponder. The satellite transponder amplifies the incoming signal and changes the frequency. Downlink. The satellite transponder transmits the signal to downlink earth station and the ground equipment receives the signal. Satellite communication was ground stations to send and receive microwave signals between artificial satellites which are in the orbit around the Earth. Types of satellite orbits: by inclination, equatorial orbit, inclined orbit, polar orbit. Equatorial orbit. In the equatorial orbit, when the satellite rotates in an orbit directly above the equator using in the circular path, the satellite moving in a circular path, it has an inclination of 0 degree. Inclination orbit. Inclined orbit or virtually or orbits exhibit those that travels directly above the equator or directly above the north and south poles. The triangle of the inclination vary between 0 to 180 degree. Polar orbit. The polar orbit is where the satellite rotates in the path that takes in over north and south poles in an orbit pattern that it is perpendicular to the equatorial plane. The polar orbit satellites follow a low altitude peak close to Earth's surface, passing over very close both the north and south poles. The angle of the inclination of the orbit satellite is in polar orbit is 0 degree. Polar means that is green color. Inclined orange color. Equatorial orbit is violet color. By altitude. Low Earth orbit, medium Earth orbit, geostationary Earth orbit. Low Earth orbit, that is LEO. Its kilometer is 160 to 2000 kilometer. The minimum speed is about it is rotates on the satellite time 120 minutes. The satellite is rotating in the Earth in 120 minutes. In hour, the satellite is rotated on the 6 hours 120 minutes and 6 hours it rotates. Its kilometer is 2000 to 35,000 to 786 kilometer. Geostationary Earth orbit. Geostationary Earth orbit its kilometer is about 35,786 kilometer. Its hour is the satellite is moving on the circular path of the Earth. Its hour 24 hours. By shape. Circular orbit, elliptical orbit. Circular orbit is the orbit is fixed distance around the barycenter, that it is in the shape of the circle. That is the satellite move on the Earth in circle path. The orbit has an eccentricity of 0. There are several types of circular orbits, or they are included: geostationary orbit, polar orbit, equatorial orbit. Elliptical orbit. The elliptical orbit is the revolving of one orbit around another in an equal of the other orbit. The eccentricity of the elliptical orbit is greater than its time. Sometimes it is satellites closer, the other time they are far away from the Earth. The closer points of the satellites come in the Earth is called perigee. The first point is the apogee. Such as highly elliptical orbit, that means heights in O. Types of artificial satellite. Navigation satellite. The satellite navigation system used to determine the ground position of an orbit. That is, determine geographical location of the ships or crafts or other objects. It It is also visual to military forces. It is often used to gather gain intelligence and used for military purpose or to military weapons. In several countries, it has used major satellites navigation systems. The navigation system so with the global coverage is called a Global Navigation Satellite System, that is GNSS. USA, the Global Politician System, that is GPS. In European Union, Galileo, the Russia Global Satellite Navigation System, that is GLONASS. China Beidou Navigation Satellite System, that is BDS. India Indian Regional Navigation Satellite System, that is IRNSS. Japan, the Quasi Zenith Satellite System, that is QZSS. Weather satellite. Weather satellite is primarily used to monitor the weather and climate of the Earth, to weather condition and what is the temperature and the rainfall of the Earth, and the storms, hurricanes, cyclones, and tropical storms developed and changes over time. Then communications need television, mobile, computer, radio. These are the communications of the satellite. The satellite gives information to the Earth. Okay, students.